Welcome to another edition of All or Not According to Jack with your host, Jack Toledano. So, it's been a couple weeks since I've been on, but as always, the wheels are turning and the projects are humming along in the background as I try to get more content out to you. So, this is something that I have for this evening. So, earlier this evening, I was at my lodge meeting. Then I went to a local bar in town uh, where my future son-in-law George works as a bartender. So I went to have a drink, and lo and behold, there was karaoke. It was karaoke night at his bar. So I know I did not sing tonight, but a few other people did, and yeah, well, mixed reviews. There were a couple ladies that sounded nice, but couple people tone deaf. What can I tell you? You take that risk when you put yourself out there, as I did in various states of inebriation in the past. So, in any event, I had this project that I was working on, uh, reviewing the reviewer. So I'm going to do another reviewing the reviewer this evening, and you know what? After hearing some of those people sing, I'm thinking to myself, I can't wait to get home and get this project going, and talk about somebody that I idolize, that I love. Uh, you know, in particular, Mr. Ronnie James Dio. Uh, so, and this is another funny thing that happened. So I have Paramount Plus, but little did I know that with Paramount Plus, you can actually watch some of the things that Showtime offers. And this is like maybe a week or two ago, and I'm looking through and I'm looking through and I'm like, holy shit, it's Dio, Dreamers Never Die, a movie that they released, made for a Showtime movie back in 2022, almost 2 years ago. So it's about 2 hours long. And you know what? I watched it, and you know what? I love it. But so let's talk about it. So basically, not that I'm going to show you my notes. Uh, Instead, I'm going to, I'm thinking to myself, how could I present this to everybody? So I'm thinking maybe I could put it together as a presentation, uh, but I'm not going to use PowerPoint. Instead, I'm going to use my Excel where I kept all my notes. So I'm going to present that in the form of a timeline. So let's go to that. Well, before we do anything, let's get my background. There you go. Dio, Dreamers Never Die. Amazing, amazing, amazing. And this, you know what? It goes through his entire, life, as a kid. But you know what? Without further ado, let's share the screen. There you go. Okay, so Ronnie James Dio, Dreamers Never Die, timeline. But before we get into that, talk about some of the guests that were on. So there was Eddie Trunk, Jack Black, uh, the metal god himself, Rob Halford, Glenn Hughes, Lita Ford, Wendy Dio, of course. She was the main character. Sebastian Bach, Rudy Sarzo, Vinny Appice. There may be more that maybe I forgot, but who knows. So it's really good. So just to give you a basic synopsis of what it covers. Uh, so Ronnie was born in July of 1942, started playing the trumpet at age 5, practiced 3 hours a day. Uh, One thing that I didn't put in my notes is the fact that Ronnie, uh, that learning to play the trumpet gave him his breathing exercises for singing. And he says that that's how he attributes becoming a great singer. But so 1958, he was probably 16 at the time. He had started a band called Ronnie and the Redcaps, playing trumpet, playing Billy Haley and Elvis sort of things. Was 1961. He had his first lead vocal on a single. He learned to sing from the trumpet, which I mentioned earlier. 1962, uh, Ronnie and the Prophets. He had another single. I don't remember what it was called. Uh, In the Way of Love, 1965. Cher also covered it. Somebody covered Cher tonight in karaoke. That was fun. 1967, he started a band called the Electric Elves. Uh, Went into a more psychedelic rock direction. I don't know if I spelled psychedelic right, but whatever. 1968, bad car accident while gigging. One of his band members unfortunately passed away, sadly. Uh, was this a sign? I think so. Uh, he was spared because God had intended great things for him, and hello, it would freaking come. Okay, brings us to 1972. They changed their name again to Elf. Another new name, continued down the road in a more hard rock direction. Uh, Auditioned for Clive Davis and Clive Davis. What the hell's wrong with me? Uh, Columbia Records. Uh, they were paired with Roger Glover and Ian Pace. They were given a record deal, uh, first Elf record. They went on to tour with Deep Purple as an opening band. Um, so, a couple of albums of note. Let's see if I can find them. Yeah, we'll get back to that. Um, okay, so 1974, 1975, Ritchie Blackmore leaves Deep Purple, recruits Ronnie and Elf to form Rainbow. Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow is released that same year. So then they show a scene with a guy named Craig Goldie, who would be a future Dio guitarist, sitting alone in his car, listening to the radio, and this song comes on. Yeah, so Craig Goldie is like, damn, what the hell did I just hear? A real aha moment. And yes, there would be many, many more of them. Uh, 1976, Rainbow Rising is released. More great tunes. 1976-77, Ronnie meets Wendy. They marry in 1978. 1978, Rainbow, Long Live Rock and Roll is released. Richie is unhappy with, Richie Blackmore is unhappy with not making it in America due to a lack of a hit single. Granted, they were huge in Europe, playing their album oriented, hard rock and mystical type rock and roll, but didn't uh, didn't have the hit singles that Richie wanted to break in America. So, and this was something that I never knew. I had always been under the assumption that Ronnie left Rainbow. No, they revealed that shithead Richie Blackmore dismissed Ronnie due to the fact that Ronnie didn't want to write relationship type songs. Uh, Good for you for sticking to your guns, Richie. I'm going to take a break and uh, fill my water. Just going to stop sharing for a second. Pause. And we're back. Thank you, folks, for your patience. I was a little parched and my drink was running out. I had to get more water. And let's resume. The, there we go. Okay, so where do we leave off? So Richie, dimwit that he is, dismissed Ronnie. Um, so then he hires what's his name, Graham Bonnet. They have a couple of minor hits. Uh, okay, oh, maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Um, Meanwhile, Black Sabbath with Ozzy, and they show Ozzy really quick, sounding a little dated. They had just released Never Say Die. Sounds dated and rough, and Ozzy just wasn't into it anymore, and he was having problems with the drugs. What are you going to do? So, in a chance meeting at that same bar where Ronnie meets Wendy, he runs into Tony Iommi. They start talking. They hit it off. They go back to Tony Iommi's home in the Los Angeles area, and they jammed a little bit. And next thing you know, Ronnie was recruited for Black Sabbath. They release a great album, Heaven and Hell. And this is what you heard. Damn. Yeah. Powerful, powerful stuff. So Ronnie was going in the right direction, and I'm not sure Rainbow was. So granted, they had some good songs with the Rainbow released Down to Earth with Graham Bonnet as the new lead singer. That didn't work out too well because supposedly even Graham was sacked after that album. Then they brought in what's his name, Joe Lynn Turner. Uh, Meanwhile, Ronnie meets up with Tony Iommi, joins Black Sabbath after Ozzy is sacked. 1980, Black Sabbath Heaven and Hell is released. Uh, Rob Halford, Eddie Trunk, and I are all in agreement. What a masterpiece Heaven and Hell is. Uh, if you have a chance, go back and to my back catalog and look at my ranking the albums of Black Sabbath, so you see exactly where Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules stands in the Black Sabbath catalog of albums. But here, Richie was worried about hit songs. Meanwhile, Black Sabbath Heaven and Hell goes platinum in the US. Uh, Mob Rules goes gold the next year. 1982, Live Evil is released. Band turmoil starts to begin over they didn't really state this, but I've read that it was over creative control of the production. Ronnie leaves Sabbath. Uh, Ronnie starts his own solo band, Dio. Um, so Dio, Holy Diver is released in 1983. That goes 2 times platinum. So way to stick to your guns, Ronnie. I don't know what the hell that shithead Richie was thinking. Anyway, Wendy discussed the complexity of their relationship, working and otherwise. MTV's launched. Music videos a new medium for advertising music. The LA music scene in the early 80s is huge. Really helps, Ronnie launch a great band. I mean, let's uh, let's take an example of one of their songs. Yeah. Oops, wrong one. Hold, please. That was Sabbath. Ah, There you go. That's more like it. So, Holy Diver is released. As we mentioned, some great songs off that album. Stand Up and Shout, Holy Diver, Straight Through the Heart, uh, Rainbow in the Dark, on the success of that two times platinum album. Last in Line is released, 1984. That goes platinum. Uh, they discuss the idea behind our music video title "Teenagers in Hell," uh, with the song "The Last in Line" in mind. Satanic ideas in the music, as mentioned by the televangelists. Screw you guys. Uh, 1985, the last of his albums to at least go gold, Sacred Heart, in 1985. Uh, they talk about the Hearing Aid Project. The song Stars is recorded, raises over $1 million. Uh, so they say that Ronnie metaphorically makes it at this point, doing it his way. So proud of you, man. Unfortunately, issues start to surface with Vivian Campbell, or we think over money. Uh, I'm not going to get into it too much. You'll have to watch it. Uh, Basically leads to Vivian being eventually dismissed, Craig Goldie being recruited, uh, Dio Dream Evil released, 1990 Lock Up the Wolves released. By this time, metal was, I hate to use the word dying, but it was basically, you know, metaphorically put on the shelf. Grunge becomes a thing, pushing metal off to the side. Uh, Music videos on MTV are dying off as well, causing MTV to basically reinvent themselves. Uh, that's why you start getting, what do they call that TV? Reality television, but that's Jersey Shore bullcrap, whatever. Uh, Poor Ronnie is dropped from Warner Brothers, signs with a smaller record label. 1992, he briefly gets back with Black Sabbath again for the Dehumanizer album. Uh, I'm not going to go too much more into his history, but I'm going to try to rattle these off. 1993, Dio Strange Highways, Dio Angry Machines released. Ronnie states that he didn't care if he played in front of 80K or 80 people. Talk about it now as I saw him around this period at the Chance in Poughkeepsie, 1998, I believe. He played in front of, I don't know, 500 to maybe 800 people, but you know what? Still gave a great show. It's something that I will remember to my dying day. I got to see him play pretty much every rendition or all the bands he was in, Rainbow, Sabbath, his solo career. Awesome, awesome. Definitely one of my cherished memories of rock concerts. 2000, he releases Magica, Killing the Dragon, uh, Master of the Moon in 2004. This is a funny thing. And so by this time, my son Jason was probably 11, and we talk about all of my musical, my my musical influences and all the music that I love. And I mentioned Ronnie James Dio, and Jason puts it together. He's like, I just saw him in a movie. I'm like, what movie? Tenacious D movie, the Pick of Destiny. Um, and he actually rented the movie. So we pop it in, and I see Ronnie on this poster on the wall that comes to life. I'm like, cool. I love this guy. Uh, they talk about metal music and other genres being cyclical. It seemed to have rebounded. Uh, Rob Halford, very astute as a musician. You have to play through it, the highs and lows of the industry and genres. Uh, Guitar Hero helped the resurgence of metal. I would know. My wife bought it for my kids. Fun, fun, fun. Although I am, knock on wood, Jason took regular guitar lessons, as did I. Fun, fun, fun. 2007, Black Sabbath, The Dio Years is released with 3 unreleased songs. They had fun with it, so they decided to make another album, Heaven and Hell, The Devil You Know. It was at this period, I don't mark it down, but in 2008, I did see Heaven and Hell prior to the release of the Heaven and Hell album uh, as an undercard to Judas Priest at Jones Beach Amphitheater. 2010 wins a Golden Gods Award. Uh, the last 10 minutes of the movie, very sadly, they talk about his cancer. In May of 2010, we lost him. Rob Halford, another very, you know, astute observation, talks about how, Ronnie will live through his music. I believe that firmly, yeah. So I think I will stop sharing. So that's about it. So again, I said, I think, did I say it was 2 hours? It might be, I don't know, hour and 45, hour and 50 minutes, but well worth it if you're a fan of Dio. Talks about his whole life, some of the trials and tribulations. They go into his home. They show a lot of old interviews. Dio, the person, he's, very easy to talk to. He seemed like a very approachable guy, loved his fans. I know this fan loved him, and I miss you. But again, like Rob said, you live on through your music. As for, reviewing the reviewer, uh, the movie Dio, Dreams Never Die, easy 5 out of 5 stars for me. So check it out if you haven't. If you have Paramount Plus, you can do the search on Dio and you'll easily find it. Otherwise, go out and buy it. You won't be disappointed. This is Jack Toledano speaking for all and according to Jack. Coming up, I am working on the year 2017 for my top 3 metal albums of the year 2017. I am working on some other content. I'm trying to get it out to you as soon as I can. Something Honeymooners related, something Seinfeld related. So stay tuned, folks. And also I will be back on my music corner in a couple weeks. 2.5 weeks, I believe, with John Clauser and John the Music Nut. So stay tuned for that as they continue their series, The Year of the Priest. Fun, fun stuff. And some other stuff coming up in March as well. Once the Judas Priest album, Invincible Shield album, is released. So stay tuned for that. Jack Toledano. All or not according to Jack. Have a good night, folks.